So we tied this to the questions of the upsurge. We are told by the Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center that this vigilante, subculture of vigilante, and I like to call them who they are hooligans, they are not vigilante groups, and their activities is more because of the benefits that political parties are seeking. So one of the ways not to want to have them to seek to do these things and gerrymander, among other things, could it be to fund them? I think this is a big debate that we should have some other time. But Prof, to fund, what do you say? To funding of the political parties by the state, will it help to curb their appetite to create regions, create districts, create constituencies?
No. I think before we cross that line of state cash funding, I think there's some state in-kind support for political parties through, say, some free media and that kind of stuff. We could go in the direction of that more. But I think before we commit cash resources to political parties, we must demand of the parties some more innovation on their part. It appears to be that the political parties in Ghana are really not interested in membership. They don't do membership drives. They don't encourage you. In fact, sometimes when you really want to be a member and you want to get a membership card, it's a lot of hassle to get it because they know they are suspicious of your intentions. Why do you want to become a member? Do you want to come and contest the election, or you want to be a delegate? They are not interested in members. They are just interested in voters. So they haven't really made any serious effort internally to generate a dues-paying membership. You see, and for that matter, when we talk about political party financing, it's really not political party financing that's the issue. It's actually self-financing is what's happening in the parties. It's individuals who finance their campaigns largely. So the individual candidate is the one that bears the burden of raising their own resources from wherever they can raise it. The party subsidizes just a little bit here and there. But whether it's the presidential or it's the parliamentary, the burden of raising the financing is really on the candidates.
Okay.
So, and the party structure is there to assist, coordinate, facilitate, and all of that. But the monies that go to campaigns go directly to individual campaigns. So I don't think that the parties themselves have done enough yet to show that they need state funding. I actually don't think they even need it. They will tell you they don't need it. I've had a symposium once where the two party general secretaries were represented, and it was a discussion about political party financing. And the attitude of both major party leaders was essentially that, look, before you guys can talk about regulating us, you don't give us any money.
Okay.
So for them, because it was really, the discussion was going to be about what must we do to basically rein in this excessive spending on campaigns and the like. And they're like, what's your problem? Have you lost any money? You don't give us any taxpayer money to run our campaigns. So why are you trying to poke your nose into our business? For them, it was just a matter of, if you don't fund us, you don't have a say-so in how we raise our money and how we spend it, forgetting that, of course, political parties have all kinds of statutory obligations unrelated to whether we give them a dime or not.
Thank you.
And that there are, in fact, public interest reasons, national security reasons, all kinds of reasons why we must have an interest in how they raise their money, where they get it from, how they spend it. So I think that I am not ideologically opposed to state funding of political parties. It's happening in some places to great effect. I don't think in Ghana we are there yet. And the parties have not made a case actually for it because they haven't exhausted the opportunities available to them to raise funding internally, including from their diaspora members, from a lot of professional middle class, from dues-paying membership. They should make a deliberate effort to cultivate members, do membership drives, and not just look for voters. They just want voters and not members because they want a few money bags to run the parties.
Right. Now, I don't know if I should have discussed this with Ace privately before, because there are certain things that played up in this particular, referendum, that referenda at the various places that he feels is very normal of our political system. Before you make about a 2-minute comment on
I'll do
whether or not funding the parties by the state will be the way to go, you raised some concerns. Now we know that the Electoral Commission has issued a statement promising to investigate matters that have come up, allegations of rigging, that have happened, malpractices that have happened in the process. You were surprised about the 100% sort of almost turnout in some of the polling stations, and not only 100% turnout, but 100% vote.
99 points.
Yes, Clara.
No, so we're talking about the voting?
Yes,
no,
briefly about that. Yeah.
No, of course, it's a little bit too, it's very disturbing to have 100% turnout, because that would suppose that nobody traveled, no one was sick, no one died, and has the register been updated so that all these
and we are talking about the actual numbers, figures. They turn out in full and voted all. Yes,
so that's a little bit, that raises eyebrows, especially in the context of the issues that came up with the referendum. Of course, there was also the issue of the fact that you had unusually people verified manually when we have verification machines.
Right.
And this is the election was in selected areas, so really it is not the case that we couldn't find BVDs, so we had to rely on manual verification. All of those raised legitimate suspicions.
Okay, so Ace, and just a bit about that, you're concerned about things that have played up that are really clearly what happens in our election, about the matters of malpractice that the EC says is to investigate.
Look, they're of the social media. There's a social media age, so there are videos circulating, which suggests, and it's everything you see that might be fact, but suggests that the person who appears to be an official was tampering a number of, and then he put them, shook the box, sat down, but it's just a video. It doesn't mean to investigate it. That is why I like the stance of the EC. The EC says we're going to investigate.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I have to go back a bit of the history of this country together with the EC. You remember the claims by the EC at the end of the last election that there had been overvoting elsewhere? What happened? Has anybody chased to find out what happened? Or did the EC lie to us? Because if they really said that they were not releasing the results because of allegations of overvoting, in fact, they spoke with a forked tongue. Once they said overvoting, they said they had been undervoting elsewhere. Right. At the end of the day, that was never resolved. So I'm sitting there and wondering, they say they're going to investigate. Let's see what's going to happen to this, because there are videos. If the videos are contrived, you can have a fair idea where this took place. I hope they can identify the polling stations that this alleged to have taken place and investigate to find out what that was happening. That people just were in the line and they appear to be taking ballot boxes with no verification, or had they been pre-verified, so that once you joined the line, you took the paper and voted. These are questions we need to ask. But let's just get back to this about financing political parties.
Yeah.
You don't have a right to get up the day and say you have formed your own political party. Yes, there's a right to join political parties, but there's a procedure for forming one. And it's essentially a license by the state to form a political party. And the state says that once you are licensed, you can raise finances. If you raise the finances, every year, file your finances. And I think a certain amount of months after each election, before and after each election, file it. They don't do it. It has to take Citizen Ghana to go to court for a court order to order the EC to whip the parties into line. Some of the times, and I'm not even sure that it's happened yet. So the same organization which got that mandatory injunctive order would have to then go and file contempt proceedings and spend money in court to chase for the right thing to be done. And then you want my tax money to be given to the parties. Then they will suddenly convert into accounting when they don't want to do it now. Look, why don't the parties want to raise money from members?
They don't.
If they do, members will demand more accountability from them.
Okay.
That's precisely.
If you come from 100 CDs for your party, at the end of the year, I want to know what you've done with my 100 CDs for.
Okay.
The parties do not want that.
Okay.
So they raise it from cronies who... look, have you seen the election rallies? The money in Ghana must go. There's no accounting for it. Nobody gives receipt for political
in car boots. Car boots.
And it's distributed and work gets done. And who is accounting for it? So... But basically, the other side of this is that without the regulation, we are saying that the parties should continue to raise money in a way that makes the contributors expect dividend when the party wins power.
Right.
You see,
Corruption.
and that is what we might come to the issue of corruption later. This is part of the thing. So we are caught in this warp.
Right.
We have to resolve it one way or the
So
other.
it might come up in the corruption issue. So Clara, in some 30 seconds, do you support this funding? What will it do?
So you mean the states? Definitely not.
Why?
Definitely not. I mean, we have a lot of issues that we need the money for, and I think we've already somehow been subsidizing the political parties without having to. Without having to. So no, I do not support. But I actually support more accountability. The publishing of audited accounts. The EC has not been showing us the publication so that we can even hold them accountable for what they have been gathering so far. Then we know what to do. We don't have any information. Where is the transparency? Where is the accounting? So we have a long way to go before at this moment.
The burden of disclosure and reporting should be on more than just the political party, because to the extent that much of what we're talking about are essentially self-financed campaigns, the burden of reporting and disclosure should also be on the candidates. Because when you put the burden on the party to tell you, oh, as far as this year, this is all that we raised, though. As an entity, as a legal entity, truthfully, the parties are not the ones who are really financing these campaigns. So they will tell you that, oh, this is it. This is the money. The people spend their own money. So we should actually, if we really want to rein in this issue of excessive money in our politics, then the obligations that we put statutorily on parties ought to be put also on presidential and parliamentary candidates.
Thank you very much. We will take a break here, return for the very final segment of the end of year news file, and thanks to Professor H. Kwesi Prempeh, Executive Director of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development, CDD Ghana. He's supposed to be with us when we return, right? Okay, so we'll be right back. We will be back to ask the question whether we are winning the war against corruption.